समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Over the past several days, I've been sharing with you the video versions of the earlier episodes of Writings on the Wall that I wrote from Bihar, starting with 2005, then two in 2005, one in 2010, 2014, 2015, and so on. And each time I promised you, I will bring you one from Bihar from elections 2025. So here it is. It's a little belated, but that's only because of the unfortunate events in Delhi, the terror attack. Nevertheless, here it is. Here are the writings on the wall as I've read them during this election campaign in Bihar 2025. So starting 2005, 2025, that also marks 20 years of Nitish Kumar. There's nothing new, as you know, in saying that Bihar is the poorest state in India. It has been so for generations. That doesn't mean, however, that it hasn't changed, and changed mostly for the better as you read the writings on the wall. The change isn't confined to Patna getting its first star-rated, in fact a 5-star hotel from the Taj Group. Linked to the group is also the City Centre Mall, the first such of any size, any significant size in Patna, hosting many top brands. The nationwide crossword chain has a bookshop here, and a shelf lists the top 30 bestsellers. Top 30 bestsellers. Check these out. Arundhati Roy's Mother Mary Comes to Me is at the top, of course. On the same wall, you find Peter Thiel's 0 to 1, two top sellers from Morgan Housel, The Psychology of Money and The Art of Spending Money. Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and a happy life, and some more. The salesperson tells me they sell 2 to 3 of each per day in Patna. 2 to 3 of each per day, considerably more over the weekends. We are aware that nothing changes the fact that Bihar's per capita GSTP is still within $900, or less than 1/3 of the national average, as it always was. It is just that 2 decades under Nitish Kumar have created a new elite in its cities, especially in Patna. There is, from the evidence of this wall, a curiosity, a hunger, something, at least among a significant number of people, for money, both for its psychology and about how to spend it. Those are 2 of the books on the top 30 bestsellers list. Over generations, Bihar's bane has been its utter lack of urbanization. A bit sad for a state that boasted the subcontinent's greatest cities and empires more than 2 millennia ago. Patliputra, Vaishali, Magad, for example. Even today, 88% of Bihar's people live in its villages. But now, even Bihar is urbanizing, or let's say rurbanizing. In the most elite private residential areas of Patna, say Patliputra colony, roads are bumpy, cratered and raised with multiple layers of tar poured for a quick fix year after year. So every year you come because you have the resources and you have the government with you. You can call somebody powerful in the government because many politically powerful live here. They just come and pour more tar over the road. And you can see why they are still streets to fit some 4th world definition, because no drains have been built alongside them. All the rainwater collects, eating up the surface, as does much garbage. If Patna is growing and gentrifying in so messy a manner, you can imagine the rest of the state. But urbanizing it is, even if more chaotically, without any plan whatsoever, almost unintentionally. In village after village, the one activity you see is construction. Bihar is in the throes of an almighty construction boom. It's almost as if nothing was built there so far. We drive through Go, little town of Go, G-O-H, in the once Maoist heartland of Aurangabad, just about 120 kilometers from Patna, not far from the Son River. New concrete dwellings, Mostly 4 to 5 stories are rising on both sides of the narrow street on top of what used to be barely pakka modest homes. Now they are going up to 4 or 5 stories. All have cantilevered balconies from which curious people hang out and look down as a political procession passes by, and all have ornate terraces. Where is the money coming from? It's a combination of remittances, giveaways under PM Awas Yojana, so you can combine the two, and indeed some rising local incomes, especially among women with self-help groups. If you had been to Bihar a decade back, you would not recognize this countryside, today's countryside. It's like another country. There is change. It is still poor, crowded, and more smog-laden than even Delhi, for which there is a reason we will come to very soon. But for the first time, lots of people have some surpluses large enough to build new, relatively fancy, by Bihar standards, relatively fancy homes. I looked at the windows on the many floors instinctively, searching for that telltale image of new prosperity and air conditioner. That's one thing I didn't find over long drives. It tells us there is money to build these houses. These are still necessities. Luxuries still must wait. Keep looking up and reading the writings on the wall. In my previous travels beginning 2005, we started with no walls in Bihar, only thatched huts and some signboards on trees. To English medium education, the second half of 2005, branded underwear in 2010, UPSC coaching and branded babies' diapers in 2014-15. Education is a permanent feature across India now. In Bihar, however, the skyline is owned by construction materials. Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli, see the pictures, Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli sell one brand of sariyas, that is iron rods. Flexi strong, matlab hamesha ke liye strong. And to build a home with these, there is a cement brand endorsed by Jasprit Bumrah. Fists raised in celebration with the slogan Build Strong. That is the hottest Indian batter and the hottest Indian fast bowler of the past decade, helping you build your house. Every cement, sariya and paint brand in the country is being sold on the walls of Bihar after 2 decades under Nitish Kumar. There is more. Airtel Pay appears often enough to remind you that this is a remittance economy. If we saw Bihar's progression from basic school-level private education to branded underwear and UPSC coaching, we now have a boom in dentistry. Even in the really small towns, qualified orthodontists and specialists have set up well-equipped clinics offering root canal surgery, that's very basic, implants, full mouth reconstruction and cosmetic work. My favorites, Smiles You Choose and 32 Teeth Hospital. See on your screens. 32 Teeth Hospital in Daudpur, offering dental implant, cosmetic surgery and laser endodental surgery. It's run by doctors Pranav and Alka Singh, dentistry graduates from Azamgarh and Lucknow respectively. Both colleges are in Uttar Pradesh. Once again to remind you, this is in the heart of the once Naxal controlled zone where revolutionaries walked around freely with weapons, even posed with them for news photographers with pride. The Aurangabad zone and its armed fighters built the legend of late Krishan Murari Krishan, the doyen of news photographers in Bihar, and who we grew in awe of as young reporters. Look at this guy. He meets all these fellows, all these Naxals or Maoists who display their guns to him. The change now is so stark that you can understand how just a return of law and order and reasonably decent governance are the deadliest slayers of these furious revolutions in desperately hopeless zones. A Tanishq jewelry showroom in Aurangabad is as good a metaphor for a failed revolution as you can find anywhere, as is the appearance of pet shops and clinics. The standout brand name for me in Patna is Bark and Brush with an attached dog hospital. There is, of course, a dental hospital on top of this. I get my story in one picture, one look at a wall. No surprise then that the strongest pitch from the NDA, even more effective than the giveaways it is spraying around freely, is that Nitish Kumar has restored law and order. Do you really want a return of Jungle Raj? It is the one time Nitish Kumar lifts his head from the printed sheets from which he now speaks. at his modestly attended public rally in Masauri Reserved constituency, about 40 kilometers from Patna. It is the only time he is able to rouse a crowd, bored as it should be, in a state known for brilliant orators, dhakad orators. This is obviously not a state that particularly appreciates mere readers, which is what Nitish has become now. Hundreds of arms, however, once he says, "Do you want a return of Jungle Raj?" hundreds of arms go up, as people say the equivalent of no, never. Nitish is now a caricature of himself. His health has faded and his mind has some good moments and some tricky ones. Nobody is allowed to meet him, and at a point in politics when he should have been riding high, he isn't trusted with anything more than a purely written short speech and then escorted down. The fact is the BJP has no choice. It has no Bihar leader who could collect even 10,000 people. I have said for years that Bihar's politics is like a bunch of bogies, railway bogies in different colors on a railway station with no engine in sight. Then at some point the engine arrives and it has Nitish Kumar written over it. The engine is Nitish Kumar. It's called Nitish Kumar. That's how he's been in power in partnership with the BJP, Lalu Congress, or even by himself for these 20 years, barring the few months when he moved out, tactically appointing Jitan Ram Manjhi, a Dalit, and now an NDA partner, as his Dalit placeholder. Nitish is the indispensable engine the BJP train still needs desperately. The dominant party may be the BJP, but the vote it seeks is for Nitish, even more than for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That is saying something. If construction is the engine driving Bihar's economy now, its downside can be witnessed along all of its rivers, especially the many and mostly unruly tributaries of the Ganga. Bihar has many rivers and has historically endured a flood-drought cycle. Floods bring enormous sands from the brittle Nepal foothills, and as the rivers dry, local contractors, politicians, thugs, mafiosi all descend on the dry bounty of sand like vultures. The state highways along the rivers have endless convoys of open trucks carrying sand, a lot of it flying in the air, making large parts of rural Bihar among the most polluted in the country. This is despite having almost zero industry. Officers in district say there is some pretense of an auction or bidding, but it is just that, a pretense. The rest, almost 99%, is simply stolen by the sand mafias. Even Nitish's law and order machinery has chosen not to mess with, because it's a very strong mafia. One frustrated officer, not wishing to be identified for obvious reasons, tells us, such is the power of these mafias and so much money they produce that they can intimidate or buy anybody. They are taking sand to Kolkata, Delhi, even the south, because the entire country is in a construction boom and short of sand. In the process, Bihar's air is ruined, revenue is lost, and riverbeds are suffering a crippling depredation. Try driving on one of those sand highways at night time, you wouldn't dare again. If law and order is the biggest Nitish NDA asset, its liability is the failure to create jobs. Bihar has seen national and state highways, even rural roads built at warp speed, truly at warp speed, but no industry. Although on paper, industrial output seems to have gone ahead of agriculture as a contributor to GSDP, it is just that we are talking of very low base. Joblessness is a millstone around the NDA's neck, and all challengers see an opportunity there and they are grabbing at it. Unemployment has two consequences. One, the usual rural distress, but the second is out-migration to other states for low-paying, mostly labor wage jobs. The latest estimates tell us that 7.2% of Bihar's population has migrated to work elsewhere. If you see the population at 14 crores, or say half of it is male, that would mean nearly a crore of men, and that is the count also. Nearly a crore of men from Bihar, 7 to 8 lakh of them in just the buzzing low-tech manufacturing cluster of Surat in Gujarat. They are all outside. About 52% of Bihar's families receive remittances. That the average size per year of a remittance is just about 35,000. That's less than 3,000 per month. That indicates how low-paying these jobs are. This results in separated families with wives bringing up children all by themselves. One contender this time, the most visible outsider, has made this outmigration, or what is described here in Bihar more effectively as palayan, exodus, his central talking point. Prashant Kishore and his Jan Swaraj party are promising to reverse it. He doesn't hold public meetings, he only does endless road shows. We travelled in his car for hours, and every few kilometers he'd stop in a village with the same message: jobs, reversal of palayan. Modi ji says he's giving you free data so young people can make reels and earn a living. And he says this mockingly, and then adds, we only say to Modi ji, we don't want your data. Just send me back my beta, that is son. He thinks the migrant laborers are his best campaigners and brand ambassadors, and they will convince their families to vote for him. Contrary to the hawa that built up towards the end of the campaign, there is no sign that he has either abandoned his ambition in favor of the BJP NDA or that he is secretly helping them. His typical 5 minutes on the stump as he does his road shows, hanging out of his car, mostly target the BJP NDA. Does an outsider like him with no ideology has a chance in a state as politicized and caste polarized as Bihar? He says he does. Each day he says his postings on social media, mostly YouTube and Facebook, have more than 30 crore views with enormous engagement. That fact anybody can check. I checked too. Will that translate into votes? His answer is the now famous ya arsh par ya farsh par. I will either be flying high in the sky or laid low flat on the floor. Either way, he says he is there to stay in Bihar politics. The desperation for jobs is compounded by another fact not peculiar to Bihar but more pronounced here. Literacy has boomed to over 75% now. Fantastic. School enrollment is almost universal, but the dropout rate from class 10 onwards, in fact a lot of it from class 10, is very high. That leaves too many unemployable but literate people. Many others who get past school are looking for jobs in armed forces, central armed police forces and state police. A most prominent writing on the wall of rural Bihar, therefore, is academies to give physical training for these prospective recruits. Many are run by armed forces veterans. RPA Rakesh Physical Academy, RPA Sports is one. Every morning, hundreds of boys and many girls arrive dutifully to be put through their paces to pass physicals. In Masodi, as elsewhere, I find something I hadn't spotted in the past. Concrete cricket pitches, see the picture? Concrete cricket pitches with nets, like you're doing net practice in cricket. I had first seen these almost as a standard feature in Pakistani Punjabi villages 2 decades ago. Concrete is an option given how difficult it is to maintain a turf. And who knows, it might build a culture of fast bowling as it did in good days of Pakistani cricket. But like our Punjab, Bihar is seeing the rise of a youth-destroying addiction. In village after village, people talk of the rising consumption of ujla. Ujla, which is almost literal translation of for the chitta or white, a kind of crude heroin cocktail popular in Punjab. Many, like O.P. Sharma, a contractor in Masodi, also gathered the courage to blame it on overzealous implementation of prohibition. If you go to the earliest writings on the wall from Bihar from 2005, you will see how we talk of the entire state plunging into darkness with the sunset, as there was almost no electricity, especially in the villages. That picture has now transformed dramatically, and the story can be read on the walls as you drive past any village at night time. On the walls, outside each home, you find the telltale green flicker of the light on an electricity meter. Whoever wins power in the elections, Bihar has at least had a total electric power revolution. This is the land of total revolution politically. It has now had a total electric power revolution under Nitish Kumar. And yet, for some reason, the BJP NDA combined isn't sure of winning based on this record. As usual, their hoardings and posters outnumber the competition 50-1, if not by even more. They have the resources, and much of their messaging is about giveaways. These hoardings, the rupees 10,000 one-time payout to women, free electricity, education loans at 0% interest, also form an endless wall in front of the BJP state headquarters in Patna. Bihar is where we first noticed the rise of the aspirational voter. All of these years, both Modi and Nitish mocked freebies. This has changed dramatically in Bihar this time. They've obviously concluded that to win again, to defy 2 decades of anti-incumbency, to defy anger over unemployment or underemployment, they now needed to hit the transactional button on the hearts of the once aspirational voters. This is the writing on the Bihar wall too. It just isn't the most virtuous one. And here, as we come to the conclusion, there is a story, there is an uplifting story you will most likely find only in Bihar in the Hindi heartland. Despite all the messages for communal polarization, Ghuspetia, infiltrator talk, Bihar doesn't seem moved. It is difficult to find any communal impulses, and in any case, Nitish doesn't talk of any of that. And social conservatism, at one level, you can see the difference in Bihar. Most women in the villages don't even bother covering their heads. They look you straight in the eye and talk. Come to Daudnagar along the main road cutting through the little quintessentially crowded Bihar town, and you will find a modest biryani hangout under asbestos sheets. Biryani Adda Chicken Masti offers fresh food with new taste, and the names of the co-owners are written on its signboard: Gulam Sabir and Rajkumar Bhagat. Do see the picture. Here is another something that sets Bihar apart.